Hello and welcome to another episode of Certified Engineering. I'm Sprutis, and in today's episode we are retrofitting the AC system. Yes, the same system that I myself removed many years ago, which means that I no longer know exactly where all the mounting hardware goes, etc., etc. So I've actually been in the garage for a few hours now because I did save everything. A few of the fasteners have been zinc and yellow passivated, but let's have a look at the parts. So here we have the AC compressor and the 4 screws to install that one. We have a few unknown screws. We have the belt tensioner with 3 screws. We have some broken rubber mounts, replacements in that package. We have some AC lines. These have been replaced because they're supposed to be hard lines. So I'm missing one of the connections. We have the condenser. It looks good enough. We have the hard lines. So in this end we connect to the towards the firewall, and then we have the hard/soft lines between the compressor and the condenser fittings. So that one and that one. And then we have a few mounts that have been painted. So here we have the actual compressor mount. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mounts which connect the condenser to the chassis. We have these that connect the dryer to the condenser. And we already have a few things removed. So in case you don't know, I think those episodes were before this one, but we made a new exhaust, stainless one. So yeah, while that's away, and we are also replacing and upgrading the brake master cylinder. So the intake manifold is gone, the alternator is gone. So we have room to reinstall the compressor. The lines needs to route past here and to those connections over there. So we also need to remove the intercooler just to have some space to work with. But down there, and also as you see here, my old engine oil cooler. And on this side we have the stock engine oil cooler used for power steering fluid. I have 2 replacements for that. Not sure if... I don't think I will be replacing the power steering one now, because I need to upgrade the lines and so on, which means that I need to make more progress on my power steering fluid reservoir. If you remember, I welded on an AN10 fitting. So, and it's leaking because I did something incorrect. Not sure what yet. But yeah, so we need to clear some space, get the condenser in with new or newly painted brackets and so on. I've already tested one of the lines coming up here, the one coming from the compressor. So that one clears the intercooler. Not sure what will happen here. That's a tricky one, so we will see. Hopefully it should be fine, but you never know. So yeah. And also I will be cleaning all the lines and so on. So as you can see, the intercooler is out. The ends are protected to avoid any any dust. So we have quite a lot of space to work with, and let's have a look from underneath. So first of all, here you see the modification I did to the crash beam in order to get air to the entire intercooler. And now you also see the power steering cooler and oil cooler, engine oil cooler together. So hopefully if I unhinge or disconnect those from the body of the car, so I get some play in these hoses, then I can lower that and get the AC line in position. We'll see. So the pipes leading towards the firewall, they are pretty much in place. We have some adjustment to do down here. I'm not sure if I routed them correctly, but the smaller one sort of overtakes the bigger one and then goes along the beam and then down, and then I need to adjust the angle of that. I haven't removed the oil coolers yet, but I think this is a good win because I was dreading how to get the pipes in place. I did disconnect the water hose from this position just to get some more clearance. That worked quite well. So I was actually able to get the pressure sensors. They are mounted on the pipe, and I got them past everything, all the mess down here, without any big hiccups. The pipes are cleaned and blown out with compressed air and then taped off. That's the red that you see. I will replace the heat exchanger on the inside before connecting them almost semi-permanently. We'll see what happens in the future. But to continue another day. So it's the next day, and since we have the hard lines somewhat in place, I think we need to get the condenser in place. So I will now remove the oil cooler, which I made a bracket for underneath here. The same for the power steering cooler. I made another bracket for that. So I will just hang them out of the way, because this oil cooler, or the one that I'm upgrading to, will be sandwiched between the water cooler and the condenser. So the condenser is in place, and I'm still working out how I will route the oil lines as well as mounting the power steering cooler. And as you can see, the bracket for the hood latch is gone, as well as the hood latch. I thought that I could take it in from here, but that wasn't possible. Then I thought that I could take it from here, but that was not possible as well. So I had to take it from underneath. Then it was possible. So I want to connect these lines, but then I need to have it ready in that end. So I added some extra mess to the project and removed the cooling unit. There's supposed to be 7 fasteners. Not sure where one of them are. But yeah, 7 after removing the glove compartment and the top piece for the glove compartment, then I could pull it out. So we now have it here on the floor. So I will replace the evaporator and expansion valve, put it back in place, and then we can connect these. Yeah. And also the foam is in way better condition than I thought, so I think I will leave it and just reuse it. So we have a few screws and clips to remove, and then we should be able to get the cooling unit out, evaporator. So I've already taken apart the cooling unit, put together the new evaporator expansion valve with old pipes. I cleaned them out, put some tape on to seal them off. These screws, I just hand tightened them until I saw that the flanges go up against each other. The old O-rings look black, and the new ones I have in are green and ready for newer AC stuff. Anyway, it was, as you can see here, it was there is a lot of dirt, and it was completely black inside, so I've cleaned it out. I just used this super foam, spray it on, let it work for a few minutes, and then wipe it off. This used to be green. So I can now put this back in the cooling unit and put it back in the car. For connecting the two halves, we have 4 screws and 3 clips. The grommet, this side towards the engine bay, I will put this on after. I also need to look out for this drainage hose. Needs to go through the firewall, and then hopefully I can get all the fasteners in place. So we have 3 on this one and 3 on this one. Was supposed to be 7, maybe. Oh yeah, here we have 1 as well, so 7. I will put it back together and into the car. So the cooling unit is back in place, and yes, I have a wire mess to clean up, but the main target is accomplished, getting the evaporator and expansion valve replaced with new O-rings. So now we can head back to the engine bay. So one of the pipes is now connected to the sort of condenser, the condenser assembly, the suction pipe. Both of them are connected to the evaporator or the firewall connections. So, and I realized that I don't have the correct fasteners. So I used the M6 threaded rod and put a nut and a washer on, just to keep it together. Not really sure about the routing because it's quite tight now for the oil lines, so I think I will need to redo that. But I think this is good for one day. Continue tomorrow. So again, it's the next day, and as you can see, I've already opened up the lid on the compressor, and you see the black gasket. We are replacing that for a new green one. And by the way, I bought these from Rock Auto, and this is the number. Seem to have everything you need and a bit more, because each component also came with new O-rings, but that's good, then we have a spare. So replace that. I do not have the oil with me, so I would be adding that later. and not fully sure what to do with this one yet, as this might be replaced. I don't know if I'm supposed to do like an adapter to the new type of fittings or whatever. Not sure if this is the new one. Anyway, I will leave that for now. But let's replace the gasket, and then we can install the compressor. And we put the screws in, because you can't get them in if you're holding up the compressor to the engine. You need to have them in to have enough play. The AC compressor is installed, and a little correction. It's only the top ones, the top two screws, that you need to have in place when putting the compressor up to the mount. The bottom two can be reached from below, or you can insert them from below. I've also connected the wire underneath this mess. So we can now move on with the AC hoses connecting to the top plate. And a reminder to myself, this one is toast, needs to be replaced. So basically the AC system is completed. We have the compressor and bracket, the hoses, we have the old drying filter. I will vacuum the system before I replace that, but getting the fasteners holding these P-clamps, yeah, that was tricky. So I ended up sacrificing the insect screws like these, so that I could have a more slim sized tool and get them on. I did cross thread this one, but I noticed it quickly, so I could mend it, and now it's tight. This line should have the, I guess, high pressure port, so we will see if I replace this one down the line, but yeah, it will work for now. I shortened the threaded rod until I find the correct screw. It's tight between the oil hoses and the AC lines. You will see how that goes. I can't remember how I had it before, because the hoses are the same. I haven't changed those. So this should basically be the same setup that I had before. And everything is connected all the way to the cooling unit. So all we have to do now is see if we still fit this intercooler. The intercooler is in, which means that it fits. And as you can see, I replaced the power steering cooler with this stainless pipe. I will make a better solution for that later, but I think the main goal is accomplished. The AC system is back in my Supra, ready for the next steps. I can't really lock in the intercooler right now, since the other end of intercooler pipings and so on are not really connected. So yeah, I'm happy with this. We have clearance for the pipes, etc. The only question mark is the oil cooler lines. I might redo those. We will see. I think they will hold for a test drive at least. So that actually means that we have reached the end of this episode. Like I said, AC system is back in. Hopefully it's airtight and leak free, with the exception of the drying filter, which will replace once I vacuum, etc. like I said. So as you see, we have a blue connection down there. We don't have anything here, but here we have the vevor vacuum pump and a manifold. So it's been running for a while just to evacuate any air and moisture. I was curious or unsure in the beginning if it actually was connected to the system properly, so I cracked the connections up there to the heat exchanger, and it started to suck in air through that. So it seems to be working. I still need to fill some oil, but it's easy to just remove the alternator and then I have access. We will lose a bit of space with the radiator in place, so removing the alternator is good. I think I have all the electrical connections as well. Hopefully. We'll see. So we have a few things to take care of, but the majority of the AC system is installed. When it's time to actually run it, I will install the wheel for the tensioner for the belt, as well as the wheel on the ATI super damper. I have that at home, and I will replace the dry filter, and then we will see if it can push some cold air through the system. But yeah, I will continue with the other episodes that I'm currently recording. So thank you very much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.